The most underrated ability in life is the power of acceptance. It's not about agreeing with everything that happens to you, but rather recognizing that you could unchange what happened and deciding to make the best out of it. And when you master this skill, it will revolutionize your life. I want to tell you the story of two men who were sentenced to death. The first one was told that he would be crucified. The second one was told that he would be thrown into the volcano. Obviously, they both thought it can't be me. But then they both realized it is going to be me, and their reactions were very different. The first guy started screaming, yelling, crying, throwing himself on the floor, begging for mercy. But the second guy stood up tall, looked at the executioner and said, "If you're going to kill me now." This is what we call the power of acceptance. You see, we often get upset when things don't go our way, or we lose control over events. In these moments, we have a choice to make. Either embrace what has happened and move forward, or resist it and suffer, Seneca said. The chief task in life is to separate things into two buckets, those you can control and those you can't. When you start taking control of the uncontrollable, you lose all your peace. This might sound like a simple concept, but in reality, it takes a lifetime to master. When you understand this concept, you start seeing life differently. You see the difference between what is up to us and what is not up to us. Epicurus wrote, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." Worrying about things that are not in our control leads only to fear, anxiety, and stress. When we lose people we love, when bad things happen to us, or when we get sick, we want to blame someone. We ask ourselves, why did this happen to me? But you know what? Bad things happen to good people, and sometimes good things happen to bad people. It's just the way the world works, Marcus Aurelius said. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. One of my favorite examples of the power of acceptance comes from the life of Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who wrote Meditations. He was born in 121 AD, and his father died when he was only 20. His grandfather and great-uncle were also dead by that age. So Marcus was next in line to take the throne. At first, he didn't want to accept this responsibility, felt angry towards his family members for dying so early, leaving him to deal with the consequences. But then he understood that this is his reality, and he accepted it. From that moment on, he knew that he had a mission to fulfill, and that his duty was to serve his people. Marcus Aurelius never saw himself as unlucky or cursed. Instead, he said, "Fortune is a goddess to be acknowledged. Accept whatever comes to you without complaint, and you will be free from worry." Every morning when I wake up, I think to myself, this is going to be a great day, because I choose to make every day great. Let me tell you a story about a friend of mine. She has been through so much pain in her life, losing her mother at a young age, dealing with a toxic father and suffering in an abusive relationship. When I met her, she seemed to be a very negative person, always blaming others for her problems. But one day she came to me and told me she decided to change her attitude towards life, and she started seeing things in a new light. Now she radiates joy and positivity. Whenever something goes wrong, she says, "This too shall pass. This is my reality right now, but it won't always be like this." And this gives her peace. There's another thing that really helped her, and that is gratitude. Practicing gratitude helps you focus on the positive aspects of your life instead of dwelling on the negative ones. When you're grateful, you can't be resentful or bitter. Napoleon Hill, the author of the famous book Think and Grow Rich, said, "The starting point of all achievements is desire." Weak desires bring weak results, just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat. Through this, I learned that even though bad things happen to good people, good things happen to good people too. Gratitude for these blessings helps you overcome the pain of the negative events. When you practice gratitude, you transform the bad days into lessons and opportunities to grow instead of thinking of them as punishments. I want to share with you a powerful quote by Viktor Frankl, a Jewish doctor who survived Auschwitz during World War II. He said, "Everything can be taken from a man, but the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances to choose one's own way." They said the power of acceptance. No matter how difficult your situation may be, you always have the freedom to choose your attitude and response to it. You can choose to see the worst, or you can choose to see the best. You can choose to complain, or you can choose to be grateful. You can choose to feel sorry for yourself, or you can choose to feel inspired. As a society, we tend to focus more on the negatives. We watch news to find out what horrible things are happening in the world. We talk to friends about the bad things that happen to us, and we spend our time complaining about the things we do and like. But you know what? It's up to us to decide what we want to pay attention to. We can choose to focus on the negative, or we can choose to focus on the positive. When you start paying attention to the positive, good things start happening to you. Marcus Aurelius said, "It's not events that upset us, but our judgment about those events." We can choose to look at things in different ways. For example, you might get stuck in traffic and start feeling angry and frustrated. Or you might see this as a chance to listen to your favorite music or to call a loved one. It's all about how you choose to respond to events. But some may argue, isn't it better to be prepared for the worst-case scenario? Well, yes. But at the same time, being constantly caught up in worst-case scenarios steals your present moment. Yes, you should prepare, but then let go and trust that you've done the best you can. Marcus Aurelius says you don't need to worry about what people say, but you must care about what you do. If you aren't doing your best, you're not living your best life. I want to tell you about a time in my life when I put this principle into practice. If you want to live a peaceful life, you have to accept your past, especially if you're carrying emotional baggage from childhood. Things happen to you that weren't fair, but trying to change them now won't be fair to you in the future. You have to accept what happened, forgive everyone involved, including yourself, and move on. Otherwise, you will keep suffering. Remember, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. By practicing the power of acceptance, you can find peace within yourself and be ready to face whatever life throws at you. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this video on why you should stop caring what other people think.